So you guys are so close to ending your journey to being a BCBA, which is awesome. One thing that you want to start paying really close attention to right now, if you haven't already, is your documentation. The BACB has really, really strict criteria on documentation, as well as the requirements that need to be completed prior to sitting for the exam. Hopefully, you guys are getting close in obtaining all of your hours and have been keeping up with documentation and are very familiar with this site already, but if you aren't, I will still walk through a little bit of it. So this is just the BACB.com. It has a lot of really useful information, as I'm sure a lot of you know. The ethics tab is great. You can also find a certificate. So if you are looking for a reference for a BCB in your area, you can go there along with RBTs as well. To find the criteria for sitting for the exam, you'll want to click the BCBA tab down here, and it will take you to a lot of the different outlines. So just about it in general, obtaining it, maintaining it, and then the ethics as well. One thing that I do want to note is that January 2022 requirements are changing pretty significantly. So you guys currently are completing task list 4 as well as the supervision the fieldwork requirements and supervision for prior to 2022. So you want to ensure that you are sitting for that exam prior to January 2022. If you sit after, the requirements change pretty significantly. That information is here on this gold tab over here called January 2022 BCBA requirements. If for some reason you sit after that, really, really pay attention to that information. But you really should be having the goal of sitting prior to that. And you should have enough time to do that, whether you're still accumulating hours or not. But in terms of requirements for the prior to 2022, you'll want to go here to obtaining BCBA certification, that more information tab. This will show you the different routes that you have. So right now you guys are doing the coursework. So you have your master's degree or finishing it up. You're doing your BACB related coursework and then your supervised experience. Once you pass the exam, then you get your certification. This will outline all of the information required for this. Go to more information there. It will tell you what degree is appropriate, what coursework is appropriate. PSU's coursework is all aligned with the BACB requirements, so you are good to go with that. What you'll really want to pay attention to here is your experience standards. So go ahead and click that, and this will outline all of the documentation you need, the specific criteria outlined. You'll want to pay attention to the requirements along with group supervision versus independent supervision. You'll also want to pay a really close attention to restricted versus unrestricted hours. You have to have at least 50% unrestricted hours of that 1500. All of those details are pretty important. And then their documentation. They are requiring that you document using their documentation systems. That is new. It didn't used to be a requirement. You could document however you wanted. However, now they are requiring it. So this information is really, really important. Here is the links for all of that and the final forms. So there's a monthly form and then your final form. So once you've completed all of your 1500 hours, you'll finish the final form as well. There are tutorials on how to complete all of these forms. Your fieldwork supervisor should be pretty well versed in this as well. Do take note if you have individual supervisors from multiple organizations or if you have supervisors all within one organization, there's different forms for that as well. As confusing as it seems, it really is pretty straightforward in the resources that they give in completing these documents. These links are all really helpful. So once you have finished your fieldwork hours, have appropriate documentation, then you can apply to sit for the exam. And at that point, you'll be ready to go. So the exam information is here. It's only offered a handful of times per year, so pay attention to those dates and the due dates for documentation to be submitted. In a couple future lectures and probably throughout the course, we'll go over study tips and different just useful resources that, through my experience and colleagues' experiences, they've used and found helpful for passing the exam.